All right, we're back. We're now going to try a slightly different type of cut. The last one we did was a straight line. This time we're going to do what we call a slight curve. And when I say slight curve, honestly, it's really just a slightly curved straight line. The difference is, instead of it being a perfect line that goes all the way from here to here, we're going to make it almost a perfect line, but we're going to let it veer off a little, veer off again, but not much. Like, it's not much of a curve at all. The main reason we do this kind of cut is because we want to teach you kind of how to steer the wheel, so to speak, before we build up to a really complicated cut, like, like a deep curve. So you'll notice that this curve is only slight, like it barely departs from the straight line. Barely, barely, barely. We cannot have this plastic ridge all the way under the line, but we can have it underneath most of the line. And so that's what we're going to attempt to do. Same rules are going to apply as before. You're going to have, if you're right-handed, left foot forward, right foot out. If you are left-handed, right foot forward, left foot out. You're going to take your wheel, you would grease it, but I've only made 2 cuts so far. So I don't need to grease this yet. I only need to grease this about every 4 or 5 cuts. I'm going to put my thumb underneath, 2 fingers on top. I'm going to put my non-cutting hand here to give it just some support. And then I'm going to do almost the same thing. The only difference is that it's going to be when I make the motion, I'm going to curve in and out. All the pressure, I didn't mention this in the previous video, most of the pressure should be coming from your shoulder, not necessarily from your hand. Your wrist will help guide. It'll help guide it and help make the curve. And it's something you may have to try 2 or 3 times before you'll be able to get it right. So let's give this a shot. I'm holding down, feet are in position. My cutter's here. I'm holding it vertical, trying to keep it as straight up as I can. Listen for the sound. I'm going to go slow, but if I go slow, I have to push down a little harder. If I go fast, I don't have to push down nearly as hard. Okay, so here we go. And I have to go all the way to the end. Now, I don't want to wait too long. We don't want the glass to kind of start setting up. So we're going to go ahead and begin tapping. Remember, index finger and middle finger on left and right side, thumb on top for support. Keep it low. That way, if it broke apart on you, you'd have less of a chance of the glass shattering. I'm going to turn it around. Remember, we still tap from underneath, not on top. Tap from underneath. You want what's underneath to meet up with what's on top. Now, if you don't have any luck breaking it at first, sometimes you can come back and tap a little bit harder if you think you need to. Now, you got to pick which end you think has the best cut. Did you start with more pressure? Did you end with more pressure? Which one do you think is better? I think maybe this one is better, so I'm going to flip it around. The idea is to keep it consistent. Take the running pliers, make sure the little white line's on top with the tongue underneath. Get in here as deep as you can. Again, you don't need a lot of pressure. You just very gently squeeze. And you'll see that it traveled part of the way and then it veered off the line. It wasn't a good cut. Let's see if this side will cut. Mr. Norris, you're the teacher. How come this is happening? Well, I'm using a used glass cutter. That's probably the reason why. So there's a chance I might even do another demo here in a minute with a different glass cutter and see if that works. But let's try it one more time. Let's do one more cut. Let's see if I can do a better job. This glass cutter may have seen its days. Again, left foot forward, right foot out because I'm right-handed. I'll draw my line. It's going to veer just a little bit left and right, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, kind of where I don't have to put as much pressure all the way back. I have to go left to right with my wrist, but pressure is still coming from the shoulder. I'm pushing down. Fingers on each side, thumb on top, tap. I think this cut's going to be a lot better. I think this side ended better, so I picked the side I think where it's better. Again, white line on top. Get it in here, keep it really low, gently squeeze, and that one came off without a hitch. And I think what the secret was is I just used a little more pressure because I think that this wheel on this glass cutter is getting a little dull. So I just used a little more pressure on it. It means its days are probably numbered. But that's how you do a slight curve cut. It's probably good that you see your teacher not get it perfect the first time, so that way when you don't get it perfect the first time, you won't feel as bad. So that's that technique. You hold on tight. Here in a little bit, we're going to show you another technique in the next video.